Welcome back, everyone, to another lesson. Today we are going to be discussing division. So, what is division exactly? Division is repeated subtraction. It's also another way to look at multiplication, kind of in reverse. So, I'm going to show you some live examples of addition. We use my magnet models again. Let's say I have 6 magnets here. I got 6 magnets all together, right? Let's write the number 6. And I want to divide them. Division divided by symbol here. I want to divide them into 2 separate groups. So we have 6 divided by 2. How many is in each group? We have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. We divide it into 2 separate groups there. Now, let's say I've decided to put all 12 of the magnets together that I have. Because why not? Because I can, I suppose. I have all 12 magnets there. And I want to divide them, so divided by, I'm going to split them, divide them into 4 separate groups. Now, how many do I have in each group? So I divided them into 4 separate groups. How many do I have? Looks like I got 3. So when you divide something, it splits it up evenly. So, doing division is like saying, okay, I have 18 divided by 2. This is another way you could say 2 times what equals 18. Yeah, 2 times what equals 18? 9. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. That's another fancy way of doing division. Let's say I have 81 divided by 9. How many times? So 9 times what equals 81? Or another expression you'll hear is how many times does 9 go into 81? Well, it goes in 9 times. 81 divided by 9 is, in fact, 9. So, let's see here. We have a few rules here for division that are going to make your life a lot easier. So if I take any arbitrary number and I divide that by 1, I will get the same number back. So yeah, take a number, divide it by 1, you get the same number back. So let us do 5 divided by 1. So any number divided by 1 is itself. So 5 divided by 1 is 5. We have 275 divided by 1. Again, any number divided by 1 is itself. You'll get back 275. So far, so good, right? Now, we have another property that tells us with division, any number divided by itself. Any number divided by itself will equal 1, provided that that number does not equal 0. There is a reason that it can't equal 0. We will get to that in a minute. But basically any number except for 0, any number divided by itself is 1. So I take 5 and I divide that by 5. I am going to get, well, any number divided by itself is 1. I take 275. I divide that by 275. What am I going to get out of that? 1. Any number divided by itself is 1. Also simple enough, right? Now, in division also, it does matter what order. If you take 0, and it's important 0 comes first, 0 divided by any number except for 0, you will get 0. This is where that number does not equal 0. So, let's say I do 0 divided by 5. Well, 0 divided by any number is 0. I do 0 divided by 275. 0 divided by any number is 0. So 0 divided by any number except for 0 itself is 0. Okay. Now we get into the big part. A number divided by 0, that is going to be undefined. Some people have taught that a number divided by 0 is 0, or it's 1. This is totally false. You cannot divide by 0. The proof of this is left in pre-calculus. It's kind of a... It's not a horrible proof, but it's not the greatest either. So, the idea is, as you approach 0 from the right-hand side, it gets closer to infinity if you divide by 0. If you approach 0 from the left-hand side, it gets closer to negative infinity. So something can't be positive and negative infinity all at once. And then 0 divided by 0 itself, it's not only that, you have to consider, could it be 0? Could it be 1? The jury's still out on that. We don't know. There have been mathematicians researching that idea for thousands of years, and no one has come up with an answer. So just know divided by 0 is a no-go. It does not work. Okay, then. So, I'm going to start with a couple problems here. We have 18 divided by 3. So, how many times does 3 go into 18? Or 3 times what equals 18? You're going to start hearing me say 3 goes into 18 how many times? If we remember our times tables, it's 6. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Alright. How about 72 divided by 9? 9 goes into 72 how many times? 8 times. The answer to that is 8. If you want to check these answers too, you can use multiplication to check. That's fine. We know 9 times 8 is in fact 72. Also, this is a good chance to teach you of the different parts of an division equation. This first number, so the very first number in a division equation is going to be the dividend. This is the dividend here. The 9, what you're dividing by, is called the divisor. And then your answer is the quotient. So, 72, this is the first number in any division equation is your dividend. What you're dividing by, your second number, is your divisor. Your answer is called the quotient. So you could think of it as the divisor times the quotient equals the dividend. That's another way to think of it. But it might be easier to think of it as 9 times what equals 72. I'm just giving it to you the more formal way. Also, here's ways you'll see a division problem. Of course, you'll see the 72 divided by 9, the classic symbol that we're used to. You may also see 72/9. That's also another way of writing it. You may see 72/9 in the fraction form. That also means division. Then you may see 72 with this sideways bar thing and the 9 to the left of it. That's also division. Those are the 4 symbols for division. Alright. So you have 54 divided by 6. How many times does 6 go into 54? Or 6 times what equals 54? 9. Goes in 9 times. Alright, let's teach you about division by 10. This might help you out here. Division by 10. So let's say I have 90 divided by 10. Well, we know that what you can do when you're dividing by 10 is write it as a fraction, 90/10, and then you can just cancel out a 0 from each of them. You'll get 9/1, which is 9. That'll be your answer. You can cancel out from the top to the bottom. So how about we get one that is 100 divided by 10. That's going to be equal to 100/10. Now from the top and the bottom you can cancel out 1 0 each. You'll have 10/1, which 10 divided by 1 is going to equal 10. So you see how I canceled out a 0 there. Let's do one more like it. Let's do 150 divided by 30. So write it as a top and bottom division problem. You'll have 150/30. Cancel out a 0. You can cancel out a 0 in each. You'll have what's left is 15 divided by 3. Well, 15 divided by 3 last time I checked was 5. So the answer to that problem is 5. Because you can cancel out the zeros. Well, let's say I had 1,500 divided by 30. Let's up the ante a bit. That's going to be equal to 1,500/30. Well, you can still cancel out 1 0. That's fine. What you're left with now is 150 divided by 3. This is where we can break and do long division. We're left with 150 divided by 3. Let me write this up a little bit higher here. I'm going to teach you long division now. 1,500/30. The zeros canceled out, right? That equals 150 divided by 3, which you could turn into a long division problem. How do you turn it into a long division problem? You use this weird bar to separate the 150 from the 3. So, you start with your 3, figure out how many times does it go into 1 here. 0, don't even bother with it. How many times does 3 go into 15? 3 goes into 15 5 times. So you'll have 5 times 3 is, what you'll do next, since you determined 3 goes into 15 5 times, you'll take that 5, you'll multiply it by 3, and you'll get 15. With that 15 you got, you'll subtract it from this 15, you'll get 0. You'll bring down that 0, and 3 times what equals 0? Well, 0. 3 times 0 equals 0. Multiply that 0 by 3, you'll get 0. Well, subtract 0 from 0, it's 0. So you know it goes in evenly. If you have nothing left over, no remainder, that means it goes evenly into it. So the answer to this problem is 50. Alright, let's try a couple easier ones here. How about 270 divided by 9? This is 270 divided by 9. 9 doesn't go into 2 at all, so how about the next digit? 9 goes into 27. You'll go into the 2 together here. 9 goes into 27 how many times? 3. So you'll write it above the 7 there since you're doing it 27 divided by 9. 9 times 3 times 9 is 27. So 27 minus 27 is 0. Bring down your next 0. 9 goes into 0 how many times? Well, 0. You'll take this 0, multiply that by 9, you'll get 0. Subtract 0 from 0, you get 0. So your answer is 30. That'll be your answer. Let's do something a little bit harder. How about 150 divided by 2? What is 150 divided by 2? We know 2 doesn't go into 1 at all, so how many times does 2 go into 15? 2 goes... Okay. So here's the trick. 2 doesn't go into 15 evenly. You'd be right. Nothing times 2 will equal 15. At least not evenly with a whole number. This is where hopefully you're okay with the times tables. What you can do is pick a couple numbers. We know 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 8 is 16. You cannot go over this 15 here. You can't go over, so you got to be under. 2 times 7, so 2 goes into 15 7 times, so 7 times 2 is 14. You'll have 15 minus 14. 5, so that's going to be 1. It turns out it's 1. Then you drop down your next digit over, and from the dividend, you have 10. 2 goes into 10 how many times? 5. Now you'll take that 5, you'll multiply that by 2, you'll get 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. You have no remainder, so your answer to the problem is 75. So 2 goes in 150 75 times. How about, what about 180 divided by 4? Okay, how many times does 4 go into 18? Because we know it's not going into 1, so how many times does it go into 18? Well, we know 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20. 5 doesn't work because you'd be over that 18. So it would go in 4 times. 4 goes into 18 4 times evenly. So now you'll have 4 times 4, which is 16. I suppose I better write in blue ink. 4 times 4 is, in fact, 16. So you'll subtract the 16 from that 18, you'll get 2. Now you drop down the 0 in the next place over from the dividend automatically. You get 20. 4 goes into 20 how many times? 5. Now you do 5 times 4 is 20. What is 20 minus 20? 0. So 4 goes into 180 45 times. Okay, let's do something now where we have remainders. You'll have 277 divided by 5. Well, 5 don't go into 2 at all. We know that. That'd be 0. There'd be no point. How many times does 5 go into 27, though? Well, 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 6 is 30. We can't go over, so 5 goes into 27, in fact, 5 times. So write that above the 7. So you have 5 times 5 now. You take this and multiply it by that divisor of 5. You get 25. So you'll do 27 minus 25, which turns out that's 2. Bring down that 7 from the dividend. You got to figure out again, how many times does 5 go into 27? 5 goes into 27 about 5 times again. We have 55. So we have 5 times 5 again is 25. Subtract 25 from 27, you get 2. There's no other numbers to bring down, so this is your final result. You have 55 with a remainder of 2. How you can write that is 55 R2. 55 remainder of 2. Yes, we will do some more remainder problems. You have 2 left over that doesn't go into it evenly. Okay, how about, let's do another division problem. 699 divided by 3. I think this one actually might be pretty even. 3 goes into 6 how many times? Start with the first digit. 3 goes into 6 how many times? 2. Alright, so we have 2 times 3 is 6. We'll have 6 minus 6 here, which is 0. Bring down your 9 from the dividend. So 3 goes into 9 how many times? 3 times. So then 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, 9 minus 9 is 0. Bring down your next 9 from the dividend. 3 goes into 9 how many times? Also 3. 3 times 3, you take that 3, multiply that by 3, so 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract 9 from 9, you get 0. So your final result is 233, remainder of 0, or you can write it as 233. There's no remainder. That's your answer. Okay, one that's 869 divided by 8. So we can start here. 8 goes into 8 how many times? Once. So 1 times 8 is 8. So you're going to subtract the 8 you just got from this 8 up here in the dividend. 8 minus 8 is 0. Alright, then you bring down your 6 from the dividend here. Well, 8 goes into 6 how many times? 0. It don't go into it at all. Okay, then you'll multiply 0 times 8. 0 times 8 is 0. 6 minus 0 last time we checked was 6. Then you'll bring down your 9 here from the dividend. You'll have 69. How many times does 8 go into 69? Well, 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 9 is 72, which would put us over. So we can't go over, so 8 goes into 69 8 times. So 8 times 8 here is 64. So you subtract 64 from 69, you'll get 5. So your answer is going to be 108 with the remainder of 5. For the reason being that we just have 5 left over, there's nothing further to drag down to figure out what to multiply, so you have 108 with the remainder of 5. As we get into fractions in the next several lessons, we will learn what that remainder means. There is a significance to it. The remainder is not insignificant. We don't just throw it away. But for this purpose today, you'll simply write the answer with R whatever for remainder. Okay. How about we do 4,521 divided by 6. We know 6 don't go into 4 anytime, so how many times does 6 go into 45? So let's see here. 6 times 6 is 36, 6 times 7 is 42, 6 times 8 is 48. Well, that 48 is going to put you over if you use 8, so 6 goes into 45 about 7 times. So 7 times 6 is 42. You'll subtract 42 from 45, you'll get 3. So next thing you're going to do is drag down your 2 from the dividend. You're going to figure out how many times does 6 go into 32. Well, 6 times 5 is 30, 6 times 6 is 36, so looks like 5 times if we're not to go over. 6 goes into 32 about 5 times. You'll take your 5, multiply that by 6. 5 times 6 is 30. 32 minus 30 is 2. Then you'll take the 1 from the dividend, you'll drag that down here. Now you got to figure out how many times does 6 go into 21. So 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24. Looks like 3 times 6 goes into 21. So then you'll do that 3 times 6, which is in fact 18. 21 minus 18. So let's see, make that 1 and 11. Borrow 1 from the 2, you'll get 1. So 11 minus 8 is 3. You have a remainder of 3. So the answer is going to be 753 R3. 753 with the remainder of 3. Okay, now we got to do 2 numbers. So we got 5,798 divided by 20. Well, I can tell you right now this isn't going to work evenly, but we got to give it our best shot. So how many, 20 doesn't go into 5, that we know that, but how many times does 20 go into 57? Well, 20 times 2 is 40, 20 times 3 is 60. So times 3 is going to put us over that 57. So 20 goes into 57 2 times. So then we multiply 2 times 20, which is 40. So you'll subtract that 40 from this 57 here. 7 minus 0 is 7. 5 minus 4 is 1. Then you'll bring down the 9 from the dividend. So 20 goes into, we have to figure out how many times does 20 go into 179. So 20 times 8 is 160. 20 times 9 is 180. It's almost 9 times, but it can't go over. So it can only go in 8 times. So 20 goes in 179 8 times. So 8 times 20 is, well, 160. 179 minus 160, that's going to be 19. Bring down that 8 from the dividend. You now got to figure out how many times does 20 go into 198. So 20 times 9 is 180. 20 times 10 is 200. That'll put you over your limit, so to say. So 20 goes into 198 9 times. So you write that up here. Then you'll figure out 9 times 20, which we said was 180. Now you're going to subtract 180 from 198, which will be A1. So your answer is 18. Well, we have no more numbers to drag down from the dividend, so we're at our final answer. Your final answer is going to be that 289 from the quotient plus the 18 from the remainder. So your answer is 289 R18. 299 remainder of 18. Let's do another one here. 7,563 divided by 36. Okay. So 36 doesn't go into 7 at all. It's 0. But how many times does 36 go into 75? So 36 times 1 is 36. 36 times 2 is 72. 36 times 3, on the other hand, is 108. So that's going to put us over if we use times 3. So 36 goes into 75 twice. So we put the 2 up here. 2 times 36 now is 72. So 75 minus 72 is 3. You'll bring down the 6 from the dividend. Okay, now how many times does 36 go into 36? 1 time exactly. So put the 1 up here. You have 1 times 36 is 36. So 36 minus 36 is 0. Bring down the 3 from the dividend. You got to figure out how many times does 36 go into 3. It goes in 0 times. 0 times 36 is 0. So 3 minus 0 is 3. So your answer is going to be 210 with a remainder of 3. If that makes sense. All right. Let's do another simple one here. 450 divided by 9. So 9 doesn't go into 4. 9 goes into 45, though. How many times does 9 go into 45? Well, that goes in 5 times. 9 goes into 45 here 5 times. All right. So 5 times 9 is 45. 45 minus 45 is in fact 0. Bring down the other 0 from the dividend, you'll get 0. How many times does 9 go into 0? Well, 0 times. So 0 times 9 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. So once you're done bringing down numbers from the dividend, you have no more to bring down, you've arrived at your final result. The final result for this one is 50. Your remainder is 0. So you have no remainder, it's just 50. One more. 463 divided by 12. What is 463 divided by 12? Well, 12 don't go into 4, right? But it can go into 46. How many times does 12 go into 46? Well, 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48, but 48 will put you over. So it goes in 3 times. 3 times 12 here, do 3 times 12, that's 36. That answer is going to be 10 when you take the difference. Then you got to bring down that 3 from the dividend. You have 12 goes into 103 how many times? So I know 12 times 8 is 96. 12 times 9 is 108. Well, if you do it times 9, that's going to put you over. So 12 goes into 103 8 times. 8 times 12 is 96. So let's see. That'd be 13. That'd be 10, which would actually be a 9. That'd be 0. So 13 minus 6 is 7. 9 minus 9 is 0. So your remainder is going to be 7. So your answer to this problem is 38 with the remainder of 7. Alright. So I think that's all I have for addition for today. On the next lesson, we are going to introduce variables. Very basic variables. They won't be bad at all, but you're going to see why we've learned all the math we've learned up to now, where it's leading. So I hope everyone has a good night. Take care.